I would guess if we had it our way, my way, we'd never wait for anything or anybody. You know, if you just look around the world in which we live, there's numerous attempts to lessen the waiting that anybody has. We have drive-thrus. We have DoorDash. Now, there's a younger crowd here. When I said DoorDash or Grubhub at the other masses, I could tell that about 95% of the people in front of me had no clue. But you younger people know what that's all about, right? How many knows what DoorDash is? See, it proves my point. Some of us still don't. That is a car service, if you will. It's a taxi service, if you will, for your food. So you want a McDonald's. You're too lazy to get in your car and go through the drive-thru, so you have DoorDash pick it up for you and deliver it to you. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. You know, I was in the Baltimore airport a week or so ago waiting for my flight back to Albany, and I know that some of our kids who went to NCYC last week or so, they were also, not the time I was there, but waiting for their flight to Albany. And they had this sign up where you can call a number or text a number, and an eatery in the airport. An eatery, you know, well, they have a million of them, you know. There's always one about 14 feet away from you. But if you want it brought to you at your gate, they will bring it to you. What a wonderful world. Huh? Now, I understand from our faith formation people that went that there was about 30 kids from Mechanicville who went there, and they were having a tough time traveling. So one kid ordered this service, had it brought to him, some Chinese food, and when the other kids started to see that he could, they did it too. And somebody said to him, "You think they'd order all together?" But no, individually. You know, we have, you know, the art, if you will, of writing a letter or a postcard or a note to somebody is sort of a dying thing. And so we've replaced it with something much quicker. You know, Instagram, we have texting. Why wait? Why wait for the post office when you can text somebody? You know, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but, you know, we just want things quicker. You know, we have advertisements that, you know, we'll come, you tell us what you want, what the item is in a Target or what food items you want at the supermarket, and you come within about a half hour later, we'll have it all there for you. Don't even have to go shopping for your food, you know. We talk about instantaneous stuff almost. We have people that guarantee delivery next day. There's even talk of drones delivering whatever you order, at least in certain parts of our country, you know, within an hour. You know, you order your Christmas gift, you want a, I don't know what, a mink coat. Well, here comes a drone. Drops it. You know. And of course, you know, we want things so quickly that it gets pretty bad sometimes, and we have aggressive driving, we have aggressive shopping, we have people that are just outright intolerant, disrespectful of other people. Talking about aggressive driving, not that it happens in Clifton Park area or any place else in our country, but, you know, it gets out of hand sometimes, you know. Again, some of you, all of you probably know the area I'm going to talk about. Going north on Route 9, just before 146, Route 146, there's two stoplights, one at 146 and one just before where you take a left into the crossings. And last week, I was at that light, and it gets a little congested there. And the light was green. You know, that means go through that light, Father. I wasn't having a senior moment when this happened, okay? I stopped purposely at the light because if I were to go through the light, the next place I would be stopping would be in the middle of the road underneath the light, which is not legal, by the way, to block a road like that. Well, obviously the person in back of me couldn't read my mind and probably didn't know the law, and they were beeping the horn more than once, go, 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 And I stood my ground, so to speak. I didn't move. I am tempted, though. I have to tell you, when that happens to me, I'm tempted to get out of the car, to go up to the driver and say, is there something wrong? Are you okay? But I don't do that. That would not be nice. That would not. So anyways, the light had to change again. I go through the cycle. And then I was able to go through because the traffic, I was going to take a left too, had dissipated. Well, the driver behind me wanted to make sure that I knew, how impatient they were. And so as they went by, they certainly, hit their horn, but they made some other gestures just to reinforce that. Everything in life is not a 911 call, There are moments when we need that quick response, the 911. But most of our life isn't there. And so here we are, 24 days before Christmas. And the church season that we're entering, we know is called Advent. And this is a time, among many things, but where the church reminds us of the people of faith throughout the centuries who have waited for the coming of the Savior, who have waited for the coming of the Christ child. We sort of take that for granted because we live after the coming of Christ. But for centuries, people kept the hope alive that the Savior would one day come. These people who believed that God would keep his word. He would keep his word in time, and when it was the right time, God would do so. And talk about waiting, of course, the wait is over for us. But in a sense, the wait for God to come more fully into our lives and into our world today is still a work in progress. And so, Advent, a time of waiting in a sense, but we get caught up in other things, which is, I guess, okay. But how can we be a more patient people, appreciating the moments of waiting in our lives? Mass starts sometimes a few minutes late. What do we do with that? There's one parishioner, and not at this Mass, so I can say this. Whenever I'm talking to people, she'll go, and it's sort of a big joke for her, and I'll say to her, got one more minute. I can dress quick, But, the priest starts a few minutes late. Maybe he's 10 minutes late because he had a Mass someplace else and we're waiting. Opportunity to maybe meet with some people, opportunity to say an extra prayer for whomever or whatever. Sometimes we're waiting for someone to meet us, and what do we do with that moments of waiting in our lives? We're waiting for the light to turn green. What are we doing? We're waiting for those moments. Hopefully we can see them as opportunities that God has given us for a moment of reflection, or a moment of kindness, a moment of good action. But there's another side of waiting besides us waiting for someone else. Huh? Sometimes others are waiting for us. Maybe we should try not to keep people waiting. Their time is as important as our time. I was watching a movie this week, The Irishman, and some of you may not know this name, but it was a name of notoriety in years past, Jimmy Hoffa. And in the movie, if it's accurate, and I would guess that it probably is, Jimmy Hoffa expected timeliness from his people. If you had a 2 o'clock meeting with him, it was 2 o'clock. It wasn't 2:05, 2:10. It was 2 o'clock. You know? Sometimes others are waiting for us to do the delayed action. You know, the action of kindness, the action of life, of love, the action of promise. Oh, I'll get to that. I'll do that. I promise you. And sometimes the promise is yet to come, to be fulfilled. And sometimes God is waiting for us. God is waiting for us to take the next step in being the person of faith, of hope, of love, that we're all called to be. What is it for us? And there's always something. There's always something. What is it for us? The next 24 days are certainly more than Christmas parties and Christmas shopping. Maybe they're also meant to be a time that reminds us that we're called to be, at least at times, patience people. Waiting with hope to see and appreciate God with us, God within us. Waiting to see and appreciate God who is yet to come into our lives and into our worlds today, tomorrow, and every day.